Alright, so today let's talk about adding decimals. So if we open up our booklet, that first page should say adding decimals. So it should say adding decimals and example at the bottom. Well, then you just didn't put it in the correct order. Okay, so this is all something we should have all learned before, right guys? So this is hopefully review for us. So when we add decimals, what are some things that we have to remember we have to do with adding decimals? What's something I have to remember, Peyton?
You have to bring down the decimal point.
Okay, I will have to bring down my decimal point. We'll write that down in just a minute. Ethan.
You have to line up the decimals.
Okay, so first things first. So these are kind of like our steps. Our first step that we have to do is we have to line up our decimals. So line up the decimals vertically, meaning up and down. So line up the decimals up and down. So line up those decimals up and down. Got to be straight up and down. If they're not straight up and down, we will have issues. What's the next thing you think I have to do? Once I've lined them up, there's another step that I have to do before I can add and subtract. What do you think, Michael?
Drop the decimal.
Nope, I'm not going to drop my decimal yet. I will have to, but not yet. This is a tricky step, and it's a step a lot of students forget. You need to add zeros. Because if we have empty spaces, we need to fill them with zeros. So add zeros to fill in empty place values. So we need to add those zeros in to fill any empty place values. Then once I have my entire problem set up, what should I do? I should add them. So step 3, add your numbers. So line up your decimals, add zeros, add your numbers together. And then the fourth step is what I've heard a couple times said. Last and final thing you have to do, bring down the decimal. So bring down the decimal into your answer. Okay, let's do an example. So here's example 1. If I gave you 4.56, or 4 56/100ths, and I want to add 2.093, or 2 93,000ths together, what does step 1 tell me I need to do? Nope. Line up the decimals. That's the first thing you have to do. Line up your decimals. So I'm going to put 4.56 on top plus 2.093 on bottom. Does it matter which one goes on top and which one goes on bottom when we add, guys? No, you'll get the same answer no matter what. So honestly, I could have flip-flopped these and I will still get the same answer. So it does not matter which one goes on top, which one goes on bottom, but typically, whatever number is listed first goes on top, whatever number is listed second goes on bottom. What does step 2 say? So after the 6, I need to add a what?
0.
Because I need 3 numbers behind my decimal on top 3 numbers behind my decimal on bottom. I have to have the same number of numbers. If I don't have the same number of numbers, it's possible I could mess something up. Step 3 is to do what? Add. Good. So let's add. 0 plus 3 is? Hey everyone, 0 plus 3 is? 3. 6 plus 9 is? 5 goes down, 1 goes up. 5 plus 1 is?
6.
Plus 0 is? 6. And 4 plus 2 is? And step 4 says to do what? Bring down your decimal. So what is my answer, everyone? 6.653. Now, how do we actually say that? 6 and what, Kaden? 653 thousandths. If you guys can get better at reading these numbers as decimals, it's going to only benefit you, I promise. Questions on that? What if I asked you to round it? What if I said round to the nearest whole number? What if I said round this number to the nearest whole number? What do you think that would be, Owen?
The answer would be 7.
You are correct. The answer is 7. Nicely done. What if I said round to the nearest tenth? Nearest tenth. What would that answer be? Round to the nearest tenth. Natalie? 6.7 is correct. What if I said round to the nearest hundredth? What's nearest hundredth? McKenna? 6.65 is correct. So do we remember when we did rounding, guys?
Yeah.
Do you think I'm going to have to remember how to round throughout this entire unit?
Yes.
Absolutely. And rounding should be at the very front of your notebook. It should be that first lesson we did in our notebook. So you should still hopefully have those notes with you. Let's do one more example in our booklet, example 2. Let's do 8.4 plus 3.26. 8.4 plus 3.26. Step 1, what is it? Perfect. Line up your decimals. So I'm going to put 8.4 on top, 3.26 on bottom. Could I flip-flop those, guys? Could I do 3.26 on top and 8.4 on bottom? Yeah, only because it's adding. It'll work. What is step 2? Add 0. So it's 8.40 instead of 8.4. That way we have the same number of numbers. Keep it consistent. Now what do I do? What's step 3? 0 plus 6 is? 4 plus 2 is? 8 plus 3 is? Step 4 is what? So my answer is what? Who can tell me how to actually say that properly? Caitlin? 11 and 66 hundredths. What if I asked you to round to the nearest whole number? How does this one round to the nearest whole number? Marin? 12. To 12. Perfect. What's it round to the nearest tenth? Nearest tenth. Sienna? 11.7. Very good. So always be practicing that, okay, guys? All right. Here's what we are going to do now, because I did not do it at the beginning of class. because I wanted to make sure we got through this. We need to clean out our notebooks because we are done with the last unit, right? But I have a question. I have people's names on my board, right? So if your name's on my board, it means you're missing something, correct? If you get rid of that, and you haven't turned it in yet, that's not a good thing, right guys?
Yeah.
So, if your name's not on my board, you are allowed to get rid of everything from last unit, because we're done with it. Is that clear? If your name is on my board, please make sure you do not get rid of the one thing or the two things or whatever you owe me, but you can get rid of everything else that you've already turned into me. Is that understood? Clear? After school. After school, you turn it into me after school. Kaden?
Yeah, I'm turning into you after school.
Yep, so you can get rid of everything but that paper.
Do I rip it out?
What?
Do I rip it out?
Rip what out? We're not getting rid of our notebook, you're getting rid of your homework assignment. Homework. We don't do anything with the notebook.
I thought it was like my house.
That's fine.
You can rip stuff out or no.
Yes, take stuff out. All of that can go to the recycling bin, guys. For those of you who are missing something, don't get rid of something you're missing. That would be a bad thing. And then when you're done, you can put your trapper keepers back on your floor or on your desk. Once you are done, I will pass out your homework assignment, put your name on it, and I will explain how to do it. Yeah, we have it that way. Dan said the word good when it's not means I got it. Whenever you come in after school.
Okay. Or can I come in during the day?
I just gotta write everything out for that. Hey, Christian, you still have stuff on your desk that says why I haven't given you your homework assignment yet.
We're still recording.
Oh, good. You know, I'll remember these things eventually. We'll pause it now.